Rex Heuermann. I'm an architect. I'm an architectural consultant. I'm a troubleshooter. Born and raised on Long Island.
Okay.
Been working in Manhattan since 1987. And it's actually a cabinet maker's hammer.
The work is not done here, but this is a major, major step forward.
My reaction is, this is nuts. It's really, really crazy. You never know, you never know who your neighbors are, right?
Please note that this content is for adults only. Viewer discretion advised. If you haven't yet, hit the subscribe, like, and share. Hello everyone and welcome back to another live stream with me, Grizzly K. We are looking at the Long Island serial killer case, known as the Gilgo Beach murders as well. And this case is massive, so we need to break it down layer by layer. So consider this part, I can't really say part one because we've actually covered it quite a bit already. There's a playlist for it, Shannon Gilbert and LISK. So we deep dive Shannon Gilbert's case. We listened to the 911 call. You know, we've done that. And we've definitely looked at all the breaking news with Rex Heuermann since his arrest. But I've been down the rabbit hole, as you guys may have heard. Yesterday I was like, oh man, we're going in. Because this case could either be linked, as they said today at the press conference. If you missed the live stream of the press conference, please go check out the replay. I put in a timestamp for you so long. I'm cutting out the first half an hour because we were just waffling around and watching it and not sure if that was really the beginning. So that's going to be trimmed out. YouTube's busy processing it. But the timestamp's there from where to start it, from start to finish for the second round. So go and check that out, right? But they did say they think this investigation will expand beyond New York State. So yeah, the thing is, we're going to do a lot of Maptime today. I've also got a presentation for you. And so just know that this will be part of I think a sizable series. Because there's so much to look at, you know. There's police corruption from between 2010 and 2015. Things went wrong there. And the FBI, they were not yet involved. This case may have been able to have been solved if there was another team on board, like the one that's on board now, earlier. Which could have saved lives. That's pretty scary to think about, right? Thank you, Heather. I really, really appreciate you. Say to Fury from Penny McScratchy. Tonight there's going to be a jailbreak. Thank you so much, Heather. I really appreciate it. I did also want to say, just a heads up, during this stream, I really want to focus on my presentation and the maps and everything, and have it as little interruptions as possible, if that's okay with you guys. It's better than just filming it and leaving it. I want to see your interactions. But mods, if you can please help me thank everyone for stickers or joining membership and things like that. That'll be really awesome. And then at the end, I can have a look at the stickers. So I hope that's okay. I always feel for live stream watchers as well. And I do want to record a series of videos as well on this case. It's not a live stream. I know this is an interactive live stream. I get it. But I just want to go over what I've got for you. Okay. Yeah, we've got the little Google Man ready. We've got all kinds of points plotted out here. So I'll just zoom out so you can see what we're working with here. Okay. So we've got lots to do today. So as I say, consider this part whatever, start. We're on the starting blocks now. I'm like, wait, what is going on here? So let me bring up my presentation. Okay. Hold on 1 second. If you haven't yet, please like and share this stream. And if you afterwards leave a comment below, that's also very helpful. If you engage in the chat, that also helps as well for other people to see it. And if you could share it with the hashtags, normally Copper Horse helps us know which hashtags. They are also in the description box. But LISK, Rex Heuermann, Grizzly True Crime, all those things, that really helps as well. So let's dive into this presentation that I've made for you. And I'm going to build on it. As you know, you've already seen my other presentations on Rex Heuermann. We looked at quite a bit about him, but there's actually a lot to still unpack, of course, with him. So we will do that, layer by layer, stage by stage. So let me just move myself to the side here so I can make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so if you didn't know, this case, it could date all the way back to 1996, depending on which potential victims we're looking at. We shall see. But really, we're looking at 2010, which means that now, in 2023, they arrested someone on July 13th of 2023 named Rex Heuermann, a father of two, a husband, living in plain sight, you know, small life, nice little house, childhood home that he bought in 1994, and an architect working on Fifth Avenue in New York, having his own firm. We also saw when he was interviewed. We looked at that together. So, damn, he is innocent until proven guilty. He has been charged, okay, with 3 first-degree murder charges and 3 second-degree murder charges for 3 of the 4 Gilgo Four victims. And today, they said at the press conference that they're focusing on the Gilgo case, by the way, but they mean the Gilgo Four. And then they're going to expand from there, which is actually what we're doing as well. Okay, so charged with 3 victims' murders, could be linked to 10 or more murders. Now, on the right-hand side there, thank you to all of you. Thank you, Caroline, as well, for sending me the background checks and things like that. I really appreciate it. I don't have access to things like that here in Europe. I'm a little limited with those. So I really appreciate when you guys send me background checks or things like that. So if you look at his aliases, I was actually looking at a whole bunch. That's a whole rabbit hole of its own, because we already looked at some of his email addresses. We didn't actually, we just briefly discussed it. Some of his email addresses that's from the probable cause affidavit are apparently names of gun brands. We'll look at that a little deeper another time. But I was trying to look at all these names, right? Obviously his wife's name's also on there. But like Cindy Mercado is one of his aliases. Robert Heuermann. Bundy, Aisha. Massapequa Park Heuermann. Very creative. Pamela, all these ones. So I was just like, okay, he's got quite a few aliases. We shall look at that. I've tried to look at like background information of all his email addresses listed on the background check. There's nothing too much to report there. It's just an interesting choice of names, you know? So one day, if we could speculate more on that. Right, we're going to get to this. Now, I asked you on a poll, if you're watching the live stream with me right now, how many victims do you think could be tied to this alleged serial killer? 4 to 16. Okay, 35% voted for that. 17 to 50 victims, 54% voted for that. 51 to 100, 8% voted for that. And 101 or more victims, 3% voted for that. I do have a feeling they're going to go and back out and search in the water. I don't know, that's just a gut feel. I might be completely wrong. Let me know what you think. But they might actually go and search Gilgo Beach again, and it would obviously be based on what they found in the house. You know, if they did find notes or, I don't know, maps or something, it could be quite interesting, because a lot of these guys, by these guys I mean serial killers, this is an alleged serial killer, they document things. And they probably have newspaper clippings. I mean, if he started in 1996 especially, they got things that they write down like a scrapbook, right? Anyway, so this is his childhood home that he bought from his mother in 1994. And you know, I was thinking, why would an architect not work on this house? Why would he keep it like this? Because it's so strange, you know? There's 2 reasons. I did see Dr. Brucato on another channel the other day, and he was speculating maybe it's like a shrine to his dad, because his dad died when he was 11 years old. So maybe it's like trying to preserve it the way it was, right? Another idea that I had would be, what if there really is stuff buried there, you know? And now he can't really change it. He can't just like put in a pool or tear it down and rebuild on his own. He definitely can't do that on his own. So meaning, what if it's because things are buried there? It's a little shrine of his own work now. How can he get help in now? You know what I mean? So that's what I was thinking. Now, on the right hand, okay, firstly, right here, this is his dad, Theodore Heuermann. Now, Grizzlies, I have homework for you. Remember, a group of bears is called a sleuth, okay? Please help me sleuth things out. I really appreciate it when you do. And for all of you who are sending me like deep dive emails, locals from the area, you say you got your PhD in the case, send me things. I love it. I love it. I haven't responded yet. I read everything though. And I'm taking it all in. Okay? And I'm trying to categorize and organize all this information, which is the plan for today. We're looking at one aspect of it, one layer today. And the layer is really the Gilgo Four and Rex's timeline versus their timeline, and just seeing, now that we know that it could be him, what does that look like? Now, this is his dad. Now, what I want to know, if anyone knows, is how did his dad die? Because he died pretty young. He was 50 years old, and he was in the Air Force. World War II is what his gravestone says. He's actually buried in a cemetery just 7 miles away from the home. So I also wonder if Rex likes to keep the house like it is, and I wonder if he ever visits his dad's grave or what, Is there a major attachment there? Was that really traumatic for him? Why did we look at that? Because it's part of the building of the psychology, right? Now on the right-hand side, I couldn't find a picture, of course, of his mother. She's still alive, as are his siblings, but I did find a picture of his sister. We don't really know about her, and it's not like I want to put her on blast. Please don't bother her if you do ever find her. I don't know what she looks like now, but it's a high school picture, and I think she was class of 69, I think. So it's an older sister that we haven't really heard about, but there's some rumor that she did live at this address too. And there's an address right across the road, just diagonal, like there at 105, and that one's like just a few numbers down. That there was a rumor that maybe some other family also lived there. I don't know. I'm just telling you little crumbs of information in case you find it interesting. And then we've got Rex. He's a middle child then, and also his brother, Craig, who is living in South Carolina, and they've taken away the Chevy Avalanche there, and I know people are speculating a lot about him. He's got a negligent homicide charge, right? Yeah, I think that's what it's called, for like drunk driving and knocking over a police officer, I believe. So he has that, but it's very different, of course, to the charges that Rex is facing now. So it could really be, someone was saying he looks like a broken man, someone who's out there that lives kind of close, right? So yeah, don't go too hard on him either. We got to keep it in mind. It's interesting that a neighbor said that when he just mowed the lawn the one day when Craig didn't want him to, he got hit over the head with a steel pipe. But at that point, we say objection, hearsay. No, it might just be hearsay. We're not too sure, right? Are you sure? Vanilla Cupcake says his dad died because of a drinking and driving accident. Man, email me some things, please, because I'll add these types of things to my presentations. There's a lot of information coming in and a lot to go over. Okay, so that's pretty much, I just wanted to show you some pictures in case you haven't seen it, and I just wanted to speculate a little bit about the house, because it's very interesting, especially that they said there were disturbances in the ground. They used ground penetrating technology, and they were giving at the press conference examples like a cistern or a bicycle or something buried in the ground. Or like trophies or remains that have been burnt in, I don't know, we shall see. There's been some interesting pictures coming out from the search of the house. A lot of speculation, which I completely understand. I've been there too, just being like, what is this and what is that? And look at this. And screenshotting and showing Mr. Grizzly, look at this. So, yes, okay. Now, what I've got here, if you guys have been here at Grizzly True Crime for a while, you know I don't normally make these types of timelines, but I thought let me challenge myself and make one, because we need to see this full picture. And it's still not the full picture, it's just one layer. But I wanted to try to visualize it in a way that's not overwhelming. And that is normally what I bring to you guys, because I feel overwhelmed a lot of the time with so much information. And I'm like, how much do you guys feel? So let me try my best, like take one for the team, try to organize all this information, and then we build it from there. Okay? So that's what we're doing. So now, if we look at this, you can see Rex Heuermann was born in 1964. So we've done quite a deepish dive on who he is, where he works, when he was married, and all of that. So you can look at those videos on the playlist as well if you want to add to the layers. But he was born in 1964. His brother was born in 66, I think, and his sister is older. As I say, I think she was class of 69. I can't remember her exact birth date. Anyway, so then in 1975, his dad died. So he was 11 years old. Theodore Heuermann. dies at age 50. That must have been a huge loss for him. I mean, obviously, both parents very important. But for his son to lose his dad, and the way he talked about his dad in that interview, didn't you find that it was like, well, my dad, I mean, he was an aerospace engineer, and he built satellites. And he talks about that cabinet maker's hammer in a fond sort of way, and says that his dad taught him how to make furniture, and I don't know, it just seems to, hold his dad in high regard, if I'm correct, right? Yes, so he's a middle child. Someone's asking, yes. So, where was I yesterday when you were all freaking out? Where are you? Doing this. Okay, we're working on this, okay? And I will keep adding to it, as I say. At the end, I mean, no, we won't have a Kevin Clark timeline, but he's very inspiring. If you don't know who Kevin Clark is, that's from the Letitia Stark trial, and he's an intelligence analyst, and I recently interviewed him, and his timeline was really amazing. So, he graduated in 1981, okay? At 17 years old, normal age, Burner High School. Sister also went there. I think his parents also went there. So, 1975, dad died. 1981, graduates high school. Then, in 1990, at the age of 26, he gets married. So, there was a little newspaper clipping, okay, showing, the happy couple, they got married, all of that. Now, there's some significant moments in his life. I think one, his dad dying is interesting to me, and I wonder how close he is to his mother. Because remember, he started getting like really anxious at school. That's what we read and heard, is that he was like, I need to get home to my mom. I need to get home to my mom. It could be the loss, of the dad. And so he finishes high school and he gets married in 1990. Now, I don't know if they had any children themselves. I'm not sure about that. The stepson is obviously his stepson. That's how they word it. So that must come from his second wife's side, right? Anyway, so he got married in 1990. And then they say they don't know the exact date. Again, homework. Don't you love homework? Homework would be, when exactly did they get divorced? Him and the first wife. The reason I ask is because I think it's around 1994. Because he got remarried in 96. But 94 was like a big year for him, where he's like, okay, I'm going to buy my childhood home and I'm going to start my own company, because that's where he was in his career at that point. He was an intern when he married his first wife. And by 94, he's like, okay, own company, off we go, in Manhattan. So it's almost like I don't know. I just feel like, okay, I'm going to like confidently charge ahead, get my stuff together, buying this home. Almost like, to me, I'm just going to speculate, it feels like maybe the shame of a failed marriage. And he's like, okay, well, how to combat that? I'm going to buy my childhood home, start my own company, and okay, I'm going to find another wife. And he did. So in 1996 is when he got married to his second wife. And he was 32 years old then. They had a daughter, Victoria, together in 97. But now if you look at the timeline of this Long Island serial killer case, because this was a big mystery, right? Big mystery of who is this Long Island serial killer. And there's speculation that it could be two killers. I am going to be talking to criminal profiler John Kelly tomorrow. I'm going to be recording our meeting and discussions, and then I'll edit it, which takes a lot of time, and bring you a really cool episode. Okay, because we've got a lot to discuss. We often like brainstorm and things behind the scenes. So I want to make sure that I put it nicely together in a presentation for you. And so, someone is asking, just hold on one second. Martha says his dad is William in his name. It's his grandfather. His grandfather's name is, it's William Heuermann. Right? Yes, so the belt is why you're asking. Okay. Yes, that's correct. So 1990, you see what, let's speculate. If this marriage fails, I don't know how much that cracked his ego, devastated him, made him resent women. Just speculating, And by 96, he's like, okay, I'm remarried, now I own my childhood home, I'm moving everyone in there as well. And I've got my own company. So he's in control now, you see. He's in control of everything. Here we go. But the thing is, with the Long Island serial killer, they speculate that the killer started around 1996 or 7. Which is interesting, if you think about that. Which might mean there's this dormant other side, which is now emerging. And if it's proven later, we don't know that yet, okay? He might only be responsible for the Gilgo Four or 3 out of the 4, which is at the moment, but they're still looking into Maureen Brainard-Barnes, which to me that sounds like a formality. But the point is, if he's responsible for those that they've speculated for so long, wow, to start around 96, which is the same time that he gets his new cover life, is what I'm going to call it. And why do I say cover life? And I mean it with all respect to the family. They didn't know what's happening, in my opinion. They still said they have to investigate everything and ask lots of questions, interview lots of people. But if they had no clue, which happens a lot, okay? Isn't that interesting then? That he would choose a wife that is so busy with her stepson. That's the full focus, because he's a special needs stepson. You know what I mean? So and they traveled alone as well, it sounds like. I don't know if they ever went as a family together. There was that guy that mowed the lawn for them, and he said he saw these 4 coconuts. Well, maybe that means the 4 of them went on trips too. We haven't heard that yet. But what we know is when he killed, the family was away. They were away on holiday. So that's interesting too. It's as if like some sort of, I don't know what, abandonment, feeling, shame, whatever, as they go away, then this side of him comes out. He's free to be whatever that is now. But the point is, they speculate between 97 or 96 starting, and 97 and 2010, the Long Island serial killer was active. Now, I still speculate until 2023, because we don't know what happened. What happened in the decade before 1997, and where there's very little technology also to track him there, and what happened in the decade after. I say decade because from 2020 it was also the pandemic, you know, so I think that could have limited him a little bit. Someone saying no soundproof room. I do have that video clip for you to show you still. But if this is the activity he's engaging in his secret life and all of that, is it not quite interesting? Meaning the decade before, the decade after, maybe 2020, I don't know. Maybe that's when he started Googling so much. Are they going to catch the Long Island serial killer? How will they catch the Long Island serial killer? You know, LISK update 2022, all those things he Googled. Ugh, and all those other horrible things he Googled too. And how scary to think he was Googling like redheads and children who are redheads, and his own daughter has red hair. That's very, very scary. Very scary thought there. I'm sure they are shocked, right? Okay, so just remember that we're only speculating what could be going on here, because he's innocent until proven guilty, and he's not convicted yet, charged with 3 out of 4 of the Gilgo Beach murders, right? The Gilgo Four. Okay. Yeah. Janet says horrible Google searches. So I've just put a picture there of Peaches. That's what they call that Jane Doe. There's many. I put a plus sign because there's many other speculated victims. I've got the Gilgo Four, as well as Shannon Gilbert, the Asian male John Doe, who was wearing women's clothing. So, you know, I've seen different drawings as well, different varieties of that sketch, which is also interesting to consider. And a toddler and Valerie Mack and all these ones, but there's many that could be tied to the Long Island serial killer, of which the suspect right now seems to be Rex Heuermann, suspect. Now, through all of this, from 2010 up to 2015, not really much was going on with the investigation. It felt like it was very much in the wrong hands. And we'll go over that sometime, you know, of the arrests that were made. But the FBI joined in 2015. And so, in 2022, that's when I joined YouTube in 2021. In 2022, we actually watched the latest press conference together, and that's when I really started deep diving the case with you guys. I've always been quite interested in this one because it's like, how can it be unsolved? But yet, on some documentaries I've been watching, sometimes they say, yeah, there could be 50 active serial killers, but there really could be 300 at one time. And I'm like, damn. Oh my word. And remember, Joel Rifkin was also the same type of serial killer there. So imagine if there's more. Never mind 2, there could be more than 2 at one time. However, yes, can a killer change their MO? Yeah, they can, and they do. Sometimes they do. Let's say it like that. Just from everything I've watched and read and all that, right? So in 2022, we watched some press conferences, a renewed effort, a task force, the FBI, the cast team and everything, and they really zeroed in on this guy, Rex Heuermann. And on July 13, 2023, they arrested him. So that's that timeline. I hope it makes sense. If you do screenshot it or something and share it, I mean, I know the Grizzly logo's there, but if you could just tag me or credit me or something, that would be great, right? Okay. So you guys are asking if it was a soundproof room. It was not a soundproof room. It was like a walk-in vaulted basement. That is what the police commissioner said yesterday. I actually thought he was going to say it a bit longer, but it was just like a one-liner, which I can show you if you wanted me to. You want me to quickly before we look at this? Let's not. Let's do this first. Okay. So now, here's another timeline for you. And this is about the Gilgo Four, but you can see 5 faces on the screen because it's the Gilgo Four and Shannon Gilbert. Because if it wasn't for Shannon Gilbert's disappearance, the Gilgo Four and all the others would never have been found, which is unbelievable. So her case is extremely sad, and we don't know that it isn't connected to this Long Island serial killer. It could either be connected to a whole bunch of other very shady people. And they say that she may have been like paranoid, psychotic, going through a drug-induced psychosis and running into the marshland, which looks pretty treacherous, and then falling victim to the elements. But her family's attorney has said that they performed their own. They had their own independent autopsy performed, and her hyoid bone was actually damaged, which could prove that she was strangled. So that is interesting too. But I put all of these on with a timeline, okay? Cherry says, ignore SG and keep yourself on target. Thank you. That's what I want to do. It's very hard, okay? But I'm trying. I love chatting to you guys, but I want to make sure that we focus, okay? This is a focus session. So I put these in order because I'm sure we've all heard of the Gilgo Four. I'm sure you've seen the websites, right? The LISK podcast.com, excellent resource. Their podcast is amazing. If you haven't heard of it, LISK, Long Island Serial Killer, LISK podcast, okay? The documentaries, every resource we can find, we've looked at. But sometimes you just need a little bit of a mind map to be like, okay, whoa, let's put that all together. So that's what I'm trying to do here for you. So let's start with who went missing first? Where? How were they found? What happened? Okay, so Maureen Brainard-Barnes. And ironically, how sad is it that she's out of the 4, and the 4 of the Gilgo Four that were found on Gilgo Beach. Remember, Shannon Gilbert was found very close to that guy, Mr. Brewer's house that she'd run out from, right? In Oak Beach. So how sad is it Maureen was the first one out of the 4 to go missing, but yet that's the pending charge out of the 4 for the suspect, Rex Heuermann. So we shall see. Okay. If you guys have some facts to share and to add here that you think I could add here, please email it to me, grizzlytruecrime@gmail.com. All right. So Maureen Brainard-Barnes, 25 years old. She went missing on July 9th of 2007. Rex was 43. Now, again, I'm going to say it again. I'm speculating. If it's Rex, how old was he? If it's Rex, where was he? You see? And they say that he was like a summer hunter. And they mean victim hunter. Also, if you're local, when is duck hunting season? Because the burlap that he used is apparently duck hunting burlap blinds, like camouflage. So that's interesting. But, you know, he had like almost 300 guns in that vault, of which people have said, but he didn't shoot any of these victims. They were all asphyxiated, right? So what does that mean? Well, it could mean, if we look at the Delphi case, Richard Allen, that defendant, okay, he had a gun with him, and he controlled those girls with a gun. It's a way to threaten someone and control them, coerce them. But maybe then, once you have them, once they've got their victim in a room or whatever, then they do other things, which I would speculate. I think that Rex would have captured his victims, lured them, captured them, whatever, and controlled them to the point where you could get them to a place where they're isolated with him, which may have been at the house. Investigators say, they speculate at least one victim was killed at the house, so that's interesting. But Maureen Brainard-Barnes, July 9th, 2007, when Rex was around 43, you see, that's what I'm wondering. Normally serial killers start a lot earlier. You don't wake up at 43 years old and just start doing this. You see what I'm saying? Like, what did you do before all that? Well, what about the 20 years before even? So, the phone calls, okay? If you see the little phone logos, those are the two victims' families that he taunted with phone calls. And I find it interesting because this is chronological. So you go from July 9th, 2007, and then July 10th, 2009. We could see when they all disappeared. That's the yellow dates, right? So he taunted, out of these, the first two victims' families, calling them using their phones. And then he stopped doing that, allegedly. So Maureen Brainard-Barnes, July 9, 2007, when Rex was 43, she went missing. She was last seen leaving the Super 8 Hotel on 59 West 46th Street, New York. We will look at the map afterwards, okay? I've luckily labeled it quite well. So I hope it will make sense as well. We can always refer back to this. And he called, look at the date. He called Maureen's friend he called Maureen's friend 2 weeks after her disappearance, but he also used her phone on July 12th to make 2 outbound calls to check her voicemail. And then 2 weeks later, he called her friend to say, hey, so you in Connecticut? And then she said yes, and he's like, okay, well, I know where Maureen is. She's in a house in Queens. She's like, why would she be there? And then he said, don't worry, I'll get back to you. And he never got back to her. So there was that. Okay, so he'd like to taunt, which is just so cruel. And then the next victim out of these 4, excluding Shannon Gilbert, although she's on the map here, right? This Gilgo Four, July 10th, 2009 is when she went missing. So look at the gap between that. There's like 2 years later, almost to the day, when the family's on holiday. His wife, daughter, and stepson on holiday, on vacation. Allegedly. That's what they say in the probable cause affidavit. Melissa Barthélemy, 24 years old, she goes missing. Now he taunts her sister on July 17th, 23rd, August 5th, August 19th, August 26th. They say he called 7 to 8 times. I've seen different amounts quoted in different places. Some say 7 times, some say 8 times. This is only listing 5. So 17th, 23rd, August 5th, 19th, 26th, that's 5. Okay, so I don't know when the other 3 times were, if it's multiple times on the same day. But he was very careful to only call for 90 seconds or less so that he could not be tracked. Frederica says duck hunting season is in December. So that's interesting as well. Okay. And so those are the 2 victims' families and friends that he taunted. And terrible. We're going to look at what he said to Melissa Barthélemy's sister later, right after the slide. Okay, then on May 1st of 2010, Shannon Gilbert, 23, she disappears. And ironically, she was the last one out of all of these to be found. And as I say, it was because of her investigating her disappearance that they even found all of these victims. How scary is it to think that maybe none of these would have ever been found? So, Rex then was 46. I also didn't say Melissa was last seen outside her apartment on Underhill Avenue in the Bronx, and she'd booked a $1,000 client on Long Island for the night, right? And overnight, her price was listed as $1,000. All of them, what did they all have in common, which is what I also put Shannon Gilbert on there for, is that they were all advertising their services as sex workers on Craigslist. And what's the other one called? Backpage and Craigslist. So it is interesting that Shannon Gilbert also advertised on there. But then they say she's not connected at all to this, which could be the case, but it would be quite a mighty coincidence, huh? Mama Bear and Papa Bear says, can't the camo burlap be purchased anytime? It can. It can be stored, purchased anytime, all of that. So I wasn't really relating it to that. I just mean in his mind, he's a hunter. He's got multiple hunting licenses. Quite a few for Alaska. So I don't know if he ever went there to hunt, or if he was trying to be like the serial killer Robert Hansen. And I say that because a lot of those alias names that I saw was like Bundy and Robert, and ones that I was trying to look up, like, is there any connection to a serial killer there? So I don't know. Sometimes serial killers look up to other serial killers, right? And they try to outdo each other. Anyway, so all of them advertised on Craigslist, and they used Backpage and sites like that, right? So then Shannon was last seen leaving or running in the Oak Beach complex. Then on June 6th, 2010, when Rex was 46, Megan Waterman, age 22, disappeared. She was last seen leaving a hotel at 2050 Express Drive in South Hauppauge, New York. Thank you to all of you. Help with the pronunciation. And where she turned out, someone had emailed me, so thank you if you're watching, to say she turned right out of the hotel, which would be to go to a back road, which is way more quiet and more discreet for someone like, speculatively, Rex, to meet her and maybe take her away. And then on September 2nd of 2010, Amber Lynn Costello, age 27, she disappeared. Okay? And now she was last seen leaving home in Babylon, New York to meet a client. The thing is that her housemate, her roommate, had actually, let me just tell you this quickly. Okay. So he'd actually seen the car. He'd actually seen Rex. He said he remembered his face all this time. And again, his innocence of proven guilty. I just have to keep saying that because it is how it is. And the thing is, he said he remembered his face for all this time. He was wondering, why don't they listen to my tip? When is he going to get caught? He saw the car. He said he described the car, and it is a Chevy Avalanche pickup truck. So they say this: in the winter of 2010, shortly after police discovered the remains of his roommate and 3 other women buried on a remote stretch of Long Island shoreline, David Schaller provided detectives with a description of the person believed to be the killer. More crucially, Schaller told them about his truck. The man they were looking for was a towering Frankenstein-like figure with an empty gaze who drove a first-generation Chevrolet Avalanche. Schaller recalled telling investigators, "That was so specific." The man's size stuck out, as did his unusual pickup truck, which he'd used to flee the house that Schaller shared with Amber Costello. On that night, Schaller said that I hope I'm saying the surname right. I'm so sorry if I'm not, okay, but it's Schaller. Okay, on that night, Schaller said he came home to find the stranger threatening Costello, an occasional sex worker who had locked herself in the bathroom. The 2 men came to blows, with the hulking intruder eventually leaving in the truck, which tells me, even though he's such a big guy and he's telling the neighbors, like, I'm, 6'4", 250 pounds, easy, bro, bragging about his size, he does seem to be quite a coward, which we might expect sometimes, right, when faced with that confrontation. So, I mean, they actually had a physical fight. Damn, like David Schaller, what does he look like exactly? Because, whoa, you took him on, huh? So Amber had locked herself in a bathroom because of how much, speculatively, Rex was threatening her. And so he said, so they say then, prosecutors say Costello was last seen alive on September 2nd, 2010, as she left her home to meet that same client. A witness saw a dark-colored truck drive by the house again shortly after she left. When they told me she was dead, he was the first person who jumped in my head. He told the Associated Press, I've been picturing his face for 13 years. Oh my word. Can you believe it? Okay, so Shirley says duck hunting season starts in September, ends in January, depending on what type of duck you're hunting. Okay, thank you so much. All right. I'm just quickly looking at one thing. The police chief Yes, that would, yes, we're going to go into that with the police chief that was removed and the district attorney and that whole, we'll go over that at some point, not today though. But yes, I see your comment, and we'll get to that another time, you guys. If you don't know what comment I'm talking about, don't worry, we're going to get to that another time. Okay. So I really hope that this map helps you, because it sure helped me when I started putting this all together. I'm like, oh, okay. Then we're also going to look at exactly how they were found. I've got the exact coordinates for you so we can see, well, how did this killer place them next to each other? You can see it's 500 feet apart. Where and how and all of that, okay? Janet says we are focused. We are focused, yes. So now the Gilgo Four discovery. Now I've got them in order in which their bodies were discovered. Melissa Bartholomew, 24. I just actually want to go back to one here. You see this pattern here? Sometimes I like the numerology factor just out of interest, right? Because I'm like, the dad's grave is 7 miles away, and then I can really go down a rabbit hole. That's why I have to sometimes take some time away from being on the internet, because my mind goes all over the place. I'm like, and then this, and then that, and then, you know, all these ideas I have. Some of them, yeah, and they need to be reined in. So meaning the dad's, you know, memorial that was 7 miles away, and the beach is 7 miles away, and I'm drawing all sorts of things. But anyway, the point is, what I looked at here was the age 25, 24, 23, 22. Okay, but then Amber 27. I'm like, okay, that breaks the pattern entirely. Like, what's going on there? Unless there's going to be a whole bunch more victims in between, and that has anything to do with it. I don't think so, but you never know. Okay. So we continue on, and we're going to do some extensive map time. So if you like map time on the channel, well, we'll do that. Gilgo Four discovery. Melissa Bartholomew, 24. Missing July 10th, 2009. Found December 11th, 2010. She was last seen in her basement apartment, leaving right in the Bronx. And the taunting calls to her sister, how horrendous. He used her phone. Her family was really worried about her, like, where the hell is she? He waited a while, used her phone, and called her family. When Melissa's mother answered, he hung up the phone. But when the sister answered, which is who he was trying to get through to, I think younger sister, right? He said, trigger warning, it's not very nice language. He said, are you a whore like your sister? Because she'll be like, hello. He's like, are you a whore like your sister? I heard you're a half-breed. And then he said, I finally killed your sister, and I'm going to watch her body rot. Might show you someday personally. Those are some examples of what he had said. Have I heard the call? No, but I've watched a lot of documentaries now. Everything I could find. I love the ones from like years ago, you know, like when they were still just saying, wow, there's a Long Island serial killer, or the Gilgo Beach killer, or whatever. All those really. So if you find more, send them to me. I love them. Because I'm like, wait, what were they saying back then? And sometimes there's more details back then than what they're offering up now, of course. Maybe they hope we forget, right? But we don't forget, and things are still out there, and we will find it. So that is what I heard that he had said. That is what she said he had said to her. Can you imagine the trauma? So taunting the family like that, I mean, I wonder what that's all about. And Dr. Gary Brucato was speculating sometimes if somebody like this has a huge loss, you know, as a child, and they can't deal with that grief, they might take that and process it as kind of going like, nah, you lost your family, like, now I'm in control, let me call you, and taunt you. It might make them somehow feel better, you know, which is disgusting. So yeah, the taunting of the families though really is actually his weakness and downfall, because it helped to be able to also track and add to the evidence that they have for probable cause, meaning he thought he's so smart, innocent until proven guilty, thought he's so smart, you know, calling from Times Square, from Penn Station, from Madison Square Gardens. He thought he's so smart. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay. But then you were so tempted to turn the phones on, though, at your house too. So it was like pinging in Times Square, and then pinging, in Massapequa Park. How interesting. And then, wow, your offices are right there. as well. Oh, okay, in Manhattan. Very interesting. So they already, a while ago, were like, this is a commuter. This is probably someone who lives in Long Island and they're commuting to New York to Manhattan for work. They were right. Now, Maureen Brainard-Barnes, 25, missing July 9th, 2007. She was the second body discovered. As you can see, the first to go missing from the first slide. So you see, we like to look at it one way. In which order did they go missing? And where was Rex, or how old was he? Next, we're looking at in which order were they found. Okay. So missing July 9th, 2007, found December 13th, 2 days later, 2010. Remember, it was Agent or Officer Malia and Blue, K9. Blue, what a hero. The dog, right? Detecting a cadaver dog, detecting human remains, and they're like, whoa, and they look, and it's a burlap sack or burlap material. But I did see one picture, especially from a documentary. It did look like a bag. It looked quite hectic. So anyway, I'm not going to show you those, but the point is, detected, it seemed like it was quite a shallow grave, if any, if not just chucked like that. What do you know? If you're local, tell me, okay? Yes, Jerry Renee says, have you watched the Killing Season documentary? Of course I have. It was very good as well. Very good as well. So keep sending me all those types of things, okay? I love to soak up content and bring it to you, package it in a way that I could be like, wait. Let's add this and consider that. So I hope you're enjoying the episode. If you are, you know what to do. So, Maureen, now I'm still working on this because I'm trying to figure out if all of them had children or not. That I'm not sure of yet because okay, there's only so much time in a day. I'm working on it. We're going to add to all of this. But Maureen had a son, and she also had 16 interactions with a client with a burner phone. And we know that Rex had lots of burner phones. Even when they arrested him, he had a burner. He just recently bought a burner phone. So he was only probably warming up again. If you don't know what a burner phone is, it's a phone that's not like on a contract. It's like going to, what store should I say in America? Like a Target and buying a phone and a SIM card. Not officially registered to your name, am I right? Burner phone. So her last call was to a friend saying that a client was picking her up outside the Super 8 hotel. She was never seen again. And her phone also was pinging there at Penn Station. And I think she was also seen on surveillance at Penn Station. And then, yeah, Walmart. There we go, Janet. Sorry, man. Why would I say Target? Obviously, Walmart. And then her phone had also pinged in Massapequa Park. Because this guy, of course, this guy, I could say that. He made the 2 outbound calls to check on her voicemail. And then he called a friend and taunted her. So she was found bound with 3 leather belts. And there was one around her leg. Now, I don't know if that's the belt. One of the belt pictures they showed us with the initials that are like embossed on the belt, which is speculatively a WH. And his grandfather's name and initials are WH. It could also be HM, Heuermann, which is what I was thinking. If it was HM, maybe he's like Heuermann, I don't know. Or it could be William Heuermann, grandfather's belt or something. Okay, now all of them were placed on Gilgo Beach approximately 500 feet apart. So it's very much like, one could say, it's very structured, I don't know how else to call that, or very show-offy, as in making a statement, right? It's a serial killer's signature, right? So there's that, because if there's more victims, then they're not, well, we don't know. Maybe they're going to still obviously search that entire beach. I'm sure they already have searched a lot of the beach. But imagine if everyone is 500 feet apart. That's quite something. These 4 were approximately 500 feet or 152 meters, for those of you. Meters, right? I also use meters, okay. 500 feet or 152 meters apart. Very much similarly positioned. And so Megan Waterman was found next. And that was also on December 13th. So they first found Melissa and then the other 3. And so, Megan Waterman, she had a 3-year-old daughter, and she was last seen leaving a Holiday Inn Express on Long Island, and she was bound by clear or white duct tape. Now, remember on the probable cause affidavit, they were looking for this like bounty roll paper, there's some speculation out there that if they say the victims were asphyxiated and tortured, horrible. I think he kept them for a bit, which is why we're going to look at the clip of the silent room, which was not a silent room. It was just a vault for his guns and stuff, but you just don't know what else was in there. The thing is, if they're looking for that specific paper, there's speculation that he shoved that in their mouths. And there was apparently, locally, rumor that the victims had either their underwear shoved down their throat, which John Wayne Gacy also did that, by the way. And this guy is very similar to John Wayne Gacy, although BTK, probably more similar to him, Dennis Rader. And Dennis Rader is also like, yeah, this guy's a clone of me. Dennis Rader made a statement himself saying, yeah, this guy is a clone of me. Yeah, paper towels. There we go. Thank you, Becky G. And so, remember the dolls that were found at the graves? They're apparently called timeout dolls, which are like, you know, like when you send someone to the naughty corner for a timeout. Timeout dolls. And those one of the dolls had something like shoved in its mouth, like as in, you know. So people are speculating that he could have left the dolls at the graveside. This is all very speculative, okay? Speculatory, shall we say. So the point is, I wonder if they found some of this clear and white duct tape at the house, if they found more belts. They said they found a whole lot of weapons, some that would not be referred to as weapons in the house. It could be old, like gunpowder or things like that. And then the fourth one to be found would be Amber Lynn Costello. She's 27. She went missing on September 2nd, 2010, and she was found on December 13th, 2010. She left her home without her cell phone to meet a client. The rest of the details I'm not 100% sure of yet. I will add to it as I say. And again, if you know lots of information, send it to me. Okay, type it up if you can. Send it to me. And so, because links can't always be trusted, right? And some links just go straight to spam. So it's better to just send me some information. The thing is, Amber Costello's family said, whoa, this must have been a client. And we already know about the altercation, right? With the roommate. It must have been a client that she was very familiar with and had built trust with to just like leave her phone at home. And I think it was the same for Megan Waterman. I think the phone was left behind, which is also interesting. Think about that. If he tells these two, he doesn't give them instructions with the phone because maybe he can't control himself with that phone. So the first two, he taunted their family with their own phones. Maybe from then on, he said, you leave your phone behind. If you're going to meet with me, it's going to be for, let's speculate, an hour. This is what I'm going to pay you, and you don't bring your phones along. Okay, that's the deal. Or he might have said, I'm going to give you extra for not bringing your phone along. Because those other two their families did not get taunted from what we know. And they didn't take their phones along. So that's interesting. All right. If you guys are only joining the stream now, thank you so much for supporting the channel. I've asked the mods to help me thank everyone for like stickers and joining membership because I don't want to interrupt the presentation too much. He has not yet been charged with Maureen Brainard-Barnes' murder. He's been charged with the murders of Melissa Bartholomew, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello. So, but the thing is, with the taunting calls and the cell phone pings and all that, they are talking about a grand jury indictment for Maureen Brainard-Barnes' case, which I actually have no doubt will be added. It seems to me like a formality. I'll be very surprised if it isn't added, especially how they were found, the circumstantial evidence, and all of that kind of thing. Okay, so let's continue on before we do some map time. Oh, this is the last slide, so great. Then I could show you the police commissioner yesterday saying it was not a silent room. Because people were making like it's this, soundproof room. It was like it was a vaulted basement with its own entranceway and probably for the guns, right? Okay. Yeah, so I'm wondering if he had told them you leave your phones behind from after those, the two that he'd used their phones, maybe that was a way to discipline himself because he just couldn't help it. And he knew if you keep doing that, you're definitely getting caught, right? Eventually. And he was paranoid about getting caught based on his Google searches. I'm sure, when he got arrested, apparently when he was in jail, he asked the jailkeeper, is it in the news? I don't know, bro, you're just in jail. Can't you check the news yourself? right? Is it in the news? Yeah, you're very significant, oh my word. This guy, these people, they always want to be notorious in this way, and unfortunately they are, because as society it's like, whoa, these people live amongst us in plain sight. Although red flags were flying, but no one thought serial killer. Well, who knows, if there was a true crimer in the neighborhood, it was like, this guy's a serial killer. Maybe some of us would think like that. Sometimes it's too much though. Maybe it's just someone's a little bit of a red flag. But the burning of the garbage in his backyard, that's what one of the neighbors said. And they also said digging in the night. Weird. Okay. So, now what is the pattern with these victims? The Gilgo Four. They were found 22 to 33 feet, which is 6 to 10 meters from the edge of the parkway. That's not very far at all. It is also, there's lots of branches. Some people have said it could be bramble or it could be poison ivy. If you're local to the area, please can you let me know? Which one is it? They're a little different, right? So, that's not far from the side of the road. And on that A&E documentary, yes, they actually demonstrated how dark it is. What a dark road it is. And we've heard lots of accounts of witnesses that have encountered this person, right? And one of them was a lady that had offered to drive him home. Was that what that was? Or was it the other way around? But she was in a car with him, and on this long, dark road, which sounds like this road, he said, do you know about the Gilgo Beach murders? He tended to like, what, based on what we're hearing, which could all just be social media speculation, but from what we're hearing, he liked talking about the Gilgo Beach murders. He liked being like, who do you think it is? Or what do you think happened? Or, you know, like, oh my goodness. Right on, Josephine says, they said poison ivy. They were the profilers, said poison ivy. But what is it? Bramble or poison ivy? Either way, it's not very easy. You'd have to be very familiar with the area, which of course I think he was. We've seen already on the map. He worked at Jones Beach before, I think it was called. He lived 6 miles away. It probably was somewhere that he went in his childhood, right? All right, so they were all bound by belts or tape. They were all petite sex workers who advertised on Craigslist and other places, Backpage and other ones, but like all of them Craigslist in common. All between 22 and 27, and all missing clothing or personal possessions. I would speculate that's what they would be going through in the house and finding. Maybe even buried in the backyard. Maybe they didn't find any remains as they said, but maybe they found all kinds of trophies, as we said. I wouldn't doubt that there's trophies. If he is a serial killer, he's already charged with 3 murders. Oh, trophies are very common. It's like they really can't help themselves. They like to relive their crimes by looking at those trophies and things. So here's some pictures of, you know, them digging and finding, and I think that's Blue. Is that Blue, the K9? I think so. So that's what we have there. So that's my presentation for now. Let me just quickly see. How long did that take? Oh, I shall see now. Because I'm always like, this won't be too long. That's already an hour. So now we're going to do map time. But before we do that, I want to quickly show you this video right here. This is where the commissioner spoke yesterday. I'm going to have to resize for my map again. Okay. It's a short clip. Let's play it.
Not a soundproof room. There is a vault.
We need to boost it.
Proof room. There is a vault where he secured numerous amount of guns. Somehow, I believe that the soundproof room, and not a soundproof room, there is a...
It's not a soundproof room, he says. It's not a soundproof room.
A vault where he secured numerous amount of guns. Somehow, I believe that the soundproof room and the vault, that message got misconstrued. But there is a vault. There is no soundproof room.
What about did he in fact kill a victim?
One at a time.
Okay. Did he in fact kill a victim in this house here?
So the question is, did he do? Can we confirm that someone was killed inside the house? We can't confirm that at this time.
Why did you start digging the backyard?
We're just doing a total investigation around the house to see if there's anything back there that we need to take a closer look at.
Was there anything they found?
investigators in 2010 did have the information about the Chevy Avalanche and the description matching Mr. Heuermann. What happened in those 13 years that it wasn't followed up on?
Yeah, so I'm not sure who's saying that we knew about the Green Avalanche in 2010. I will say that we came about that information maybe a couple years ago, but we were unable to attach it to the Massapequa box, which I'm sure you're very familiar with. But the one thing I'm not going to do is knock anybody that was before me. Once again, this is a homicide investigation. These cases are not solved easily. The one thing I will say is I'm just grateful for the partnership, the teamwork that came together, being able to then attach that Green Avalanche to Mr. Heuermann, got this case going in the right direction. So whatever happened back in 2010, I can't speak about that, but I can tell you what happened recently and where we're going, what we're going to do going forward.
Okay, so you heard it. Not a soundproof room, a vault. Anna says, you're wrong. Megan had her phone on her so much he checked her voicemail 3 days after she disappeared. Please can you send me that source? Because from all the documentaries I've watched and everything I found, I like to be meticulous with my information. If I'm wrong, I'll correct it, okay? But from what I saw was he'd called there. I just want to see this. We can look if he checked on the probable cause as well. It's not talking about her voicemail, but we'll check on that. Thank you so much, Anna Marquise. Am I saying it right? Marks? Thank you for your input. Okay. So now what we're going to do is, of course, some map time. I first have to just size it for you guys. So just hold on 1 second. As I say, this presentation that I'm doing and everything is a work in progress. You are going to watch me build this whole thing from the ground up, because my goodness, there's a lot to look at. I mean, we're only looking at the Gilgo Four right now, and we also put Shannon Gilbert on here because that's interesting too. We've done a deep dive on that before. But can you imagine all the other possibilities? There's a total of 10 people found, human remains on Gilgo Beach, that this killer could be connected to. But there's others in Manorville. There's others they're looking into in maybe Las Vegas. I've seen the ones about Albuquerque. I watched that as well, but it didn't seem connected to me. But could it be? Sure. There's so much that we could be looking at. Okay, so let me play my Maptime song for you. Okay, and we are back. I'm just checking my notes here. And for Megan Waterman, I'm just answering Anna Marquise, who said, you are wrong. Megan had her phone on her. Her mother said in the A&E documentary that she must have met this person multiple times to let her guard down and leave her phone in the hotel room. So that is where I get that from. That documentary, speaking directly to the family, the producer spoke to the family. That is where I get that. So I try to be as accurate as possible. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that one, I'm going to look into again. But that seemed pretty credible to me, hearing from her own mom, her own family, right? So we shall see. Now, what do I have here? As they said in the press conference today, they are focusing on their jurisdiction, New York State. So today I thought let's focus on that, because we could also look at, of course, cases in South Carolina, where he's associated with two properties. He's associated with timeshare in Las Vegas, which is like this Tropicana Avenue. And by that Burger King, it's the hotspot for sex workers. Very, very close to that timeshare. So, is that just a place he goes on holiday? Did he ever go with his wife or family? Or is it somewhere that he escaped to continue doing what he does, if he does this, right? We'll look. There's so many. There's even a property in Phoenix, Arizona that he's associated with, according to these background checks and things. So, let's just look at this, though. What I really want to show you quickly here is if I zoom in like this. Okay. I'm just going to do it like this. Here's Gilgo Beach. Now, I'm also showing you guys this because this is an international audience. I mean, of course, I'm South African, living in the Netherlands, which you guys might know as Holland. It's called the Netherlands, though. Holland's a province. But when I lived in South Africa, I also called it Holland, okay? Now I live here and I'm like, it's the Netherlands. But so I show you the map like this as well, so you can see, well, where are we? What are we dealing with? Look, East Coast, America, United States of America. We're on the east side here, New York. I freaking love New York so much. I'll probably walk past this dude's offices many times. I've been there about at least 14 times, and that was between 2008 and 2013. So that's interesting. I'm quickly going to do this. We're going to get to that map now. I'm just showing you, like, I don't know where you're from in the world, but yeah, we're all the way over here. We got Europe over here. We're going all the way this way to America. We fly. And here we go. We're zooming in now, okay, to Gilgo Beach, Long Island, New York. I've never been to Long Island, though. Been to New York City multiple times, Manhattan. Not Long Island, though. But it looks like a beautiful area. And I actually saw some clips where they're like, oh, man, this is such a beautiful area. And this guy is now just tainting it. The serial killer case, which has plagued the area for 13 years or more. 13 years speculatively. Since they found all the bodies on Gilgo Beach. I can't imagine. What a pretty area, though. I hope that everyone stays safe and that they can still enjoy their beautiful beaches and everything, right? So, Gilgo State Park is here. Gilgo Beach is right here. This Jones Beach Island, he being Rex Heuermann, worked here as like a teenager. Wait, he would have been 20 or so actually in 84. He worked there a little bit, part-time. So he lived in his childhood home, so grew up here at 105 First Avenue. I don't know if the family's going to go back in there. I don't even think they'd want to. Right? I'm not sure. They were asking at the press conference today, could they? Because they're obviously pressing the district attorney to say, no, it's a crime scene. They can't go back in there. So they're like, oh, well, it's up to them. It's up to the council. It's up to them. But like, I'm not sure if they will. I'm sure it would be absolutely horrifying. And they've obviously dug up everything and all of that. So just think of the family of Rex Heuermann as well. They've just lost everything. Not only is this such a shock, and there's a spotlight on them as well on the internet, the whole world, but like they've lost everything. It's not like I'm sure they could pack a few things, but they just got out of there. They're going to have to start a whole new life over. So yeah, his house is right here. So let's look at it from the top. This is Google Earth, right? And there's this other address associated with his name, which, as I say, is right across like this. I don't know why that is. If anyone else knows why, if you're from the area, let me know. But it comes up on background checks under his name. Don't know why. There's some speculation that his sister lived there at some point, or that sister-in-law lives there or something. I don't know. But this 105 one, that's his house. I actually want to see what the Google Man does, because sometimes they actually block this off. Are they going to block it off for us, or can we see it? Oh, damn. Okay, we can actually go there. Ooh, they're letting us drive there a little bit. And there's the car. Oh my goodness. Okay then. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Exhibit A. Right in front of the house. That car has been taken away now. There's 2 Chevy Avalanches, in case you forgot as well. 2. Okay. One was taken in South Carolina. It was a 2002 model. I think a similar color. Dark pickup truck. And he gave it to his brother in, I believe, 2015 or so. What a gift if his brother has absolutely no knowledge about what he did, which would be the most likely outcome. Wow, must he be pissed. What kind of a gift is that, bro? Like, what are you trying to do? So yeah, this is the house. Now I want to show you the other houses just so you can see the area, right? So sorry if I'm making you dizzy. I'm just showing you quickly like why people say, well, he's an architect. Why is he living in this house? Well, maybe because he appreciates the old school architecture of this house. And as we speculated earlier, maybe he wants to keep it as is. You know, in honor of his dad. That's just an idea. Or maybe he really did have a lot of things in the walls, in the ground, in the house, I don't know, that he couldn't really tamper with, right? Yeah, yeah. Angel says, how long until they blur it out? Screenshot. It is true. One needs to, at least this will be on video now, because soon enough we're not going to see it. We've seen it in every case. His office is already blurred out. Yes, indeed. We looked at that the other day, and as you look up, it's like, oh man, that's already blurred out. So yeah, here's the house that they've been digging up for the last few days. I'm sure you've seen lots of pictures, right? So this is 2021 Google. There's the car. And this will be now a trauma memory for that family. Whew, can't imagine. Oh man. And I wonder if we'll ever hear from his first wife. Because why did they get divorced? What does she know? What kind of person is he? Because he doesn't sound very nice from what we've got, right? All the information we've got so far, no, he's not sounding very nice. So anyway, there's the house, okay? Let's go out from here. Now, where is Gilgo Beach where the bodies were found? 6 miles away. Hey, orientate yourself. We like to be north facing, please. There we go. It's from pilot school. Always face north. The map must always face north. Okay, orientate yourself. So there's the house. So he would possibly drive down here. You could take back roads too, but probably somewhere down here. Can you see my pointer, right? I made it a little bit bigger. I can make it bigger too. Should I see? Maybe I should make it bigger. Hold on 1 second. Where will this pop up now? Okay. Mouse. Settings. Stand by. I quickly want to make my mouse pointer bigger for you. Mouse pointer. There we go. Yes, we want to make it like that and bigger. Ah, very nice. Why does it make it smaller on the screen there? It's so weird. It's so huge over here. Mouse pointer, what are you doing? Anyway, moving on. Didn't help much. On my screen it's like this big right now, but I can see it's not capturing it that way. Weird. We'll get that fixed at some point. Call Mr. Grizzly or Dieter. Okay, so his house is at this 105 First Avenue. So we'd probably drive like down here, going across here, and driving on this Ocean Parkway to dump the bodies. There's also speculation that he could have done this by boat or things like that. To me, the most likely would be a car and then pulling over a little bit and dumping bodies. So look, I put the exact coordinates from the probable cause affidavit in. Amber Costello was found right here. So I think if you live there, you could actually go and see, because they've got little crosses at where they were found. Amber Costello was found here. It doesn't exactly look like exactly 500 feet, does it? When you look at it like this. Melissa Bartholomew, right here. Maureen Brainard-Barnes, and Megan Waterman. So you can see it's all on that side of the road as well. So let's put the little man down, just so we can see what it looks like. My husband is Mr. Grizzly, RLF. Raphael is my husband. Dieter is on my second channel. Okay. So let's just have a look at this. This is what it looks like, the area. So you can see what they mean by bramble. I don't know if there's poison ivy in there. But at nighttime, damn, this road is dark. Oh my goodness. If anyone wants to go out there and film how dark it is, be safe. But you can do that if you want to send it to me so we can see. So, okay, keep going. I'm just showing you a little bit. Just driving the road a little bit. Ocean Parkway. Sorry, and I'm on the... You're all going to be like, why are you driving on the side? We drive, buckle up. I told you, buckle up, everyone. Okay, so we're just going to look at the area like this as well a little bit. It could be pretty quick, huh? Could be pretty quick. So... let's keep it going. Go. Interesting. And how do you get on this side? Let's just go there again. I just want to go out. Yeah. How are you on this side if you're local? Do you know? So that is where... Sure. Okay, hold on. I just want to make my mouse a little bit smaller now because it's just not working out for me. Okay. There we go. So that is where they found their bodies. Now, if you want to know in which order, I'm going to go back to this quickly here so that you could see it. So we've got the victims there. Gilgo Four discovery. Okay. I'll put this above me here. So the first person's remains to be found were Melissa Bartholomew, and they actually had a press conference and they're like, we have found human remains and we believe it's Shannon Gilbert's, because they were looking for Shannon Gilbert. That was awkward because it wasn't Shannon Gilbert. Ooh, that must have been a major backpedal after that, right? Like, actually it's somebody else. Oh my goodness. So Melissa Bartholomew was found first, then Maureen Brainard-Barnes, then Megan Waterman, and then Amber Costello. In which order did they disappear? Do you remember? Got clues above my head here for you. In which order did they disappear? First, Maureen Brainard-Barnes. Then, Melissa Bartholomew. Shannon Gilbert, Megan Waterman, and then Amber Costello. So that's an interesting way that he put that. Sleuthing Sandal says, that'll be a bike path? Question mark. I don't know. Is the bike path new? If you guys are local, please let me know. Okay, thank you. TT Happy Rock says, Grizzly True Crime, the bike or walking path and guardrail apparently weren't there at the time the ladies were murdered. Thank you so much. See, those types of, that information is so helpful. I'm going to watch the live chat replay as well afterwards, just in case you're worried I'm not seeing stuff that you guys are saying. Don't worry. I'll look at it later, and I'm very excited to read your comments as well. Okay, so now when we go out here again, here's where his work is. And remember there was that former police officer that said they encountered Rex Heuermann going from Long Island to Manhattan and fighting with him, thinking basically he owns the train and he can be however he wants. And then also waiting for him at Penn Station to continue the verbal altercation. I found that interesting because a lot of things are starting to add up, like, oh, Penn Station, which is also where Maureen Brainard-Barnes was captured, I think, on surveillance. I think she was seen there as well. Her phone pinged there too. There were also phones pinging at Madison Square Gardens, as I said earlier, and Times Square, right? So, if you wonder, well, where did Shannon Gilbert disappear from? She was last seen east of these victims, and so you could see how much they searched for Shannon, because she was last seen around here. This is it was Joseph Brewer's house. I think he since left the area, but it was like a party house, and Michael Pack, her driver, had taken her there. We've heard the 911 call together before. It's on my playlist, so if you do want to see that, go check it out. And so her case is still unsolved. It's a mystery. No one knows what happened to her. I really hope that at some point they will. You know what's so shocking is that her attorney is still fighting for her. And, I mean, he's extremely proactive, very passionate. And you always saw, his name is Ray, I think? The attorney was always next to her mother, Shannon Gilbert's mother. Like, I just picture them always together, and then eventually they weren't, and I'm like, where's the mom? Damn, Shannon's sister murdered their mother, and now she's in prison. From what I must check on that again, but I'm like, whoa, that was hectic. So there's a whole story there. We've looked at that before as well, but I don't know if you remember that. So she was last seen here and disorientated and knocking on doors and running around, and they were looking for her body when they discovered these bodies. When they found Melissa Bartholomew. And then they went back there and they're like, whoa, Maureen Brainard-Barnes and Megan Waterman and Amber Costello. And so it went, by the way, because there were 10 people's remains found on this stretch of beach. 10. This is 4 that we're focusing on today. As you can see, look at the time go. Right? Remember that this was only, they were found 33 feet or 6 meters from the road. Wait, we're going to go to the slide here. 22 to 33 feet, or that would be 6 to 10 meters from the edge of Ocean Parkway. All of them in burlap type material, which could be, it could help camouflage the body and while it continues to decompose, because it's quite breathable material as well. So that was a pretty smart choice. You know what is also so weird? This is why I'm saying this. Okay, I'm trying not to say too much, but this case is so massive with all these moving parts, because I don't know if you guys remember, but the day that Shannon Gilbert's body was found, the following day, this other guy who owned a nursery which sold burlap sacks killed himself. And I'm like, what? What was that about? He was on a persons of interest list at some point. Like, that's strange too. What did he know? What happened to him? Or why? Shannon Gilbert's case is very, very interesting, very mysterious. And then all of the bodies that were found here too. Man. So that's what we have there. And then while we continue on here, I just want to show you, I've now mapped out as well where all the victims were last seen. So, oh, by the way, before I do that, here's where he lives. The Long Island National Cemetery is where his dad is buried. Amber Costello was last seen in this Babylon area, West Babylon area. I put the actual address there as well. Leaving her house to go and see a client. And then we have... Wait. Sorry, let me focus. Where's the others now? Hold on. We're going to New York, to Manhattan. Melissa Barthélemy was last seen leaving her basement apartment in the Bronx. Maureen Brainard-Barnes was last seen in Manhattan. Around this area here, which was at a hotel. And then we also have Megan Waterman. There we go. Megan Waterman was last seen here. Now let me zoom in here quickly, because this was a hotel that she was staying at, which is why her mother said it's weird that she left everything behind in the hotel room. And it said that she walked out of here and turned right on the surveillance. We've looked at the surveillance before as well, which could mean that she was going to meet someone on like this back road instead of on one of these main roads where there's a lot more traffic, of course. It makes sense. Meet with a client, I mean, right? So it could be, because she did say she's meeting with a client, and then she was never seen again. So she could have met up with someone along here, that someone speculatively being Rex. He is charged with her murder. So we shall see what happens on August 1st. That's when his next court appearance will be. And it sounds like they're going to have a court, after court conference as well. The district attorney, maybe the commissioner as well will be there. So, as you can see, I could actually spend all day here looking at this map with you. Never mind when we start zooming out and you start looking at all the other properties that he's associated with. And then we have to make a map of like, wait, what is going on there? I just want to see one thing quickly. I want to show you something. So I hope that this makes some sense. I know there's a lot of mappage going on and a lot of information. But now I guess you can see where I've been. That is where I've been. Okay, now I want to open this map. This is a Twitter account called CatchLisk. And let me show you the map that they've made. Look at this map. Shout out to CatchLisk. Told them today. Freaking love your maps. Because look at these maps. Now this is all missing and murdered people. Like remains, missing people, all of that. So if you just go, man, into any of these areas, it's actually quite hard to go and find, like to orientate ourselves here. This is Southampton. I'm just like, look at it. We can look at this sometime. There's just so many of them. I just want to show you that if you look at all the missing and murdered people, look at it. All over America. Now, this doesn't, it's not got nothing to do with LISK necessarily, these, but it's interesting if someone were to do, there's so many sleuths, like web sleuths, right, putting together so much comprehensive data. I really hope that at some point, the police, worldwide could maybe just rely a little more, trust a little more of web sleuths, online sleuths. Web sleuths is actually like a brand, a company, right? But like online sleuthers, sometimes the information is really, really good. So, yeah, if you just look at these, I mean, this is another whole session to go through all of these. There's South Carolina over here. We can look at so many areas over here. Look at Florida as well. All the missing and murdered people. Vegas, everywhere. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. I've shown you lots of interactive maps as well. It's in my description box too. Of ones that's a really great interactive timeline where you can scroll through and it like lights up all the dots where all the bodies were found. Today I'm going to try to wrap it up here because otherwise we'll be here all night because this case is huge. My goal is to try and keep this as short as possible, not overwhelm you with information. Today what we looked at was a timeline of Rex Heuermann and the Gilgo Four. How old was he? Where was he? What were they doing? And you can see how it's very plausible that he was normally as well taunting the families that he did taunt between 5:30 and 6:30, like they said around dinner time, which will be the time he's knocking off work and just before he gets back on the train to go back home. So even just seeing that, I hope it was interesting for you. Let me quickly go behind the scenes here and just check on any like stickers or questions that I missed. Okay, so just hold on 1 second. This is true. Cat in a hat. So now I can look at some of your comments. Says like, don't F with cats. Web sleuths sometimes do awesome work. Right? And there are some incredible maps and things that I've seen. Data compilations. I mean, if you do watch that, all these documentaries, you could see so much information that sleuths are putting together. The A&E special that they had from 2015, which John Kelly, Criminal Profiler, is actually in. That was pretty cool to see as well. If you look at all of those, man, the data that they're putting together, the profilers from all over the world with really good ideas. Let me just quickly go here. So I hope that you enjoyed the episode. I guess you can see why. At some point, I just have to be here, go live, and talk about what I found so far. Because I think I could talk to you for 24 hours and still not be done with this case. This is a massive case. And remember, I know everyone's focused now on Rex. You know, Rex, the villain, the guy, the serial killer, the ogre, the Frankenstein, and I totally get it. I mean, I myself, I'm like, damn, look at this guy, and like, what did they dig out, and what do they have? But never ever let that cast a giant shadow over the victims. This is about the victims and justice for them. I really hope that the families can get answers. I really hope that out of the 10 bodies that were found, I think 5 are still unidentified. I really hope that now they can find a way to identify them with whatever they found, if they did, in the house. Let me quickly see some of the stickers here that I missed. Okay, Teresa says, Jay from the Shaming of Jay channel walked the path. He walked the path at night? Was he okay? That sounds scary. Stacy Lynn Blue, thank you for your sticker as well. Thank you to everyone who supported the channel with a sticker today. Really appreciate it. I never expected it. I just really appreciate it. Stacy Lynn Blue says, long time watcher, first time joining the chat. Wanted to tell you how much I love your content. You are so honest, professional, and compassionate. Thank you for what you do. Thank you so much. Karen Bookout said, which of the girls has he not been charged with yet? So that's Maureen Brainard-Barnes, and I think that's only a matter of time. Ashley said, cheaper than therapy. Thank you, Lady G. Thanks to Dana Spitfire, Martha Garcia, Denise Parker, Pam Bogart. You say, love all your coverage, G. Really appreciate it. And Heather, you said $100 sticker, and you said, to Fury from Penny McScratchy. Tonight there's going to be a jailbreak. Are you trying to get Fury out of LWAP? He did just waltz in here a few minutes ago, but I'm like, bro, don't distract me. He's walking around. Yeah, the tail was going, so, but I didn't want to be distracted, okay? So, as you can see, consider that layer 1 will continue building, and of course, there will be delays sometimes. You know, this could be over months, I don't know, because sometimes there's going to be delays in the information that comes out. Before we know it, it'll be August 1st. That's like next week, right? So, there's lots of things still to look at. Let me just look at the time. It's not too bad, not too bad. Okay. Just hold on 1 second. So, did you guys follow the second, I think it was the second trial ever covered, Letitia style, Tim Bleefnick, Megan Emirowitz. Did you follow the Megan Emirowitz one with me or what? And then the Burgos Aviles one. The reason I ask is because Megan Emirowitz was actually sentenced today. And I was watching that. It was riveting. I even went on a forest walk with Mr. Grizzly and I said, I'll go with you on this walk, but I need to take this with me. I need to keep listening to this because, whoa. So if you would like to watch it with me, we're going to have another stream right now. The only thing I ask of you is please don't get used to 3 streams a day, because I just don't do that every day. I know lately there's been times where there's a lot of streams on a day, but it's a lot of news. There's been so much news, oh my word. I'm not sure if you'll see me tomorrow. Don't freak out. If you ever freak out, don't, but please look at my community tab. Look at Twitter. If you really want to see where am I at behind the scenes, Patreon. I post a lot of behind the scenes photos on there. I posted pictures of Fury on there today, forest walks, documents, videos, behind the scenes, ideas, whatever. Okay? So Patreon, it's $1 to join. That's the lowest tier. All tiers get offered the exact same thing, except for the loyalty program, which is special merch that only patrons receive. So that's the only difference with like higher tiers because of Patreon structure, right? And they do that automatically, by the way, which I think is pretty cool though. So you could just literally see where I'm at over there, or membership or something. Always somewhere. I'm never like nowhere. MP says, thank you, G, for all you do in those great mods. And thank you to everyone who became a member today. I really appreciate your support. Tomorrow is July 26th, which will be Dominic Hernandez's birthday. He would have turned 7. That's from the Burgos Aviles trial. Oh, man. My website, by the way, is Grizzly True Crime at gmail.com. Oh, no. That's my email address. GrizzlyTrueCrime.com. Sorry, I was thinking about 20 things at once there. I'm like, wait, I've got to make this public for you. The Megan Emirowitz one. It's a 1 hour long thing. So we're going to watch that and comment on it. Janet says 200k. And then I'm going to rest. I promise. For all of you who worry about me that I need to rest, I do know I need to rest. I'm very aware. I work very hard, long hours. I get it. After this, I will rest, okay? Mods, I'm very, very sorry. I'm just going to do just one more stream, okay? Just one more. So I'm going to make it public now. And this stream should lead you there. So just give it a second. I just want to make sure that we do get transported there, okay? Let me make it, this time will be 11:15 p.m. So it's in the next 5 minutes or so. And now, let's make sure you go there. We want to do the Grizzly teleport. Now, before you go, if you didn't see the press conference from today, please go check that out. That's why that's 3 streams. That surprised us. And they said 12:30, and then bam, they went at noon. And I'm like, what? I like to be early, okay? I set mine for 12:15. A very, what do I call it? A very elegant 15 minutes before, and then bam, they surprised us by being like, actually, we're going live now. I'm like, what is this? What is happening? Okay, let me just make sure that this teleport is on. Wait for it. Are you ready? So if you're dead tired, I understand. But otherwise, I'll see you over there. Thank you so much. Please leave your comments below. Please keep emailing me information. It helps so much, okay? Don't just forward me like YouTuber stuff. You know, I see it. I don't live under a rock. I see it all. But if you email me, like if you're a local and you're like, wait a minute, look at this. And what about this? And have you the yearbook photos and things? Yes. Send me that. Okay? Sleuth it. Send me sleuth kind of stuff. I love it. Okay. I will see you over there at the next stream. Okay. Bye.